Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Mock Draft Guy YouTube channel. In today's video, we are rolling right along with our 7-round team mock drafts for the 2023 NFL Draft, and I am circling back around to a team that I skipped because of the Super Bowl, and that is the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm very, very excited about this one. I've looked into so many different mocks and done my research on so many different ways that so many people have drafted, and I can honestly say that with these two first-round picks at 10 and 30, I have never seen so much disparagement between all prospects, whether it's a running back at 10, a defensive end at 30, a cornerback at 10, a defensive end at 30, offensive line at 30. I've never seen so many different picks from a fan base. So this is going to be interesting to see what you guys think about this. I'm really, really excited for this. The Philadelphia Eagles have 4 picks inside the top 100, 6 overall. So I fully expect Howie Roseman at some point to jump in between that 94 and 221st pick. It's going to be interesting to see. You never know with Howie Roseman. He's one of the best GMs in all of football. So it'll be interesting to see. So without further delay, I think we get into it. At pick number 10 here, I did mention that some people have cornerback going, and I am taking a cornerback here at number 10. I know that Darius Slay was great this past year. James Bradberry was fantastic this year. I think James Bradberry has priced himself out of Philadelphia at this point. And with Darius Slay getting older, I think it's time that you draft a stud cornerback in the first round. I know the Philadelphia Eagles haven't drafted a defensive back in the first round since like 2002 or something like that. I don't really think that matters. I think that the Eagles are looking at this trend of these young cornerbacks getting drafted and just stepping right into major roles and excelling tremendously. You think of Pat Surtain, you think of J.C. Horn, Sauce Gardner. I think that the trend continues this year, and I think that the cornerbacks are going to fly off the board pretty fast. I think we're going to see Christian Gonzalez and Devin Witherspoon go inside the first 8 picks. So I think that the Eagles are going to take a chance, especially since they're playing with house money at number 10. This isn't technically their pick. It's the Saints pick. I think you go out and you get a stud. And for me, that's Joey Porter Jr. if those two guys are off the board. 6'2", 200 pounds, freakishly long, freakish athlete. I think it would be a tremendous addition, especially in like the latter half of Darius Slay's career. You still get the tremendous play of Slay, and then you add someone like Joey Porter Jr. to the rest of that young secondary. I think it would be a great pick, and that's what I'm going to make here at number 10. Then at number 30 for the Philadelphia Eagles, there's been so many different ways I want to take this pick. I want to take Jahmyr Gibbs in the worst way. I want to go with an offensive lineman. I think Steve Avila is a great pick here. I think, maybe even a tackle. Who knows? With the way that Howie Roseman really, really values defensive line and offensive line, I'm really thinking that this next pick, if the first pick was in the secondary, I think it has to be a line pick here. And I'm going to go on the defensive line side. I know that the Eagles had one of the most historic seasons defensive line-wise in NFL history. They had like the 3rd most sacks in league history for a regular season. An amazing, amazing year. 4 players on the defensive line had over 10 sacks. It's absolutely incredible. But I'm thinking with Brandon Graham being a free agent, Fletcher Cox being a free agent, Javon Hargrave, all those guys, don't get me wrong, I honestly think all 3 of those guys will be back. I think Graham comes back for another year, especially I believe he had a career high in sacks this past year, which is tremendous at age 34. I think he comes back. I think Hargrave comes back because he's only been getting better since he arrived in Philadelphia. And Fletcher Cox, he had a great year. He had 8 sacks and had like the least amount of sacks on that line. That should tell you all that you need to know. But he had a great year as well. I think they all come back. But even with all that going on, I still think that you need to address the defensive line. You need to add some talent there, some young talent. And there's someone that's not getting enough love in this draft process, and I've been super high on the entire time. And that's Felix Anudike-Uzomah for me. King Felix, coming off of 2 fantastic seasons back-to-back. Last year, 11 sacks. This year, 8.5 sacks with much more double teams faced. 6'4", 255 to 260 pounds off the edge. He's got work to do. He needs to improve as a run defender as well. But there's so many things that you can do, especially in this Eagles defensive line where you don't have to play every down, where the Eagles love to rotate defensive linemen. I think you can get the absolute most out of Felix while still developing him in other areas of his game. I think it would be a great pick. And if you could leave the first round with secondary help and defensive line help, I think it would be a massive win for the Philadelphia Eagles. Then with the next pick at 62 for the Philadelphia Eagles, I am once again going to address the line. This time I'm going for the offensive side of the ball. And with Isaac Seumalo being a free agent and having a really, really good year, and also the uncertainty of Jason Kelce, I also think that he honestly runs it back for another year. We know that the Howie Roseman game of football is won in the trenches. If there is a talented offensive lineman on the board or defensive lineman, he is going to take it. And that's how he's been able to build these colossal offensive and defensive lines. And I think the trend continues. We've got Joey Porter Jr., we got Felix Anudike-Uzomah. I think we swing on the offensive side and we get someone as athletically gifted and as strong and as knowledgeable of the game as Steve Avila. He really, really kind of took off for me after the Senior Bowl. He had an incredibly strong showing, and the intangibles are there. 6'4", 330 pounds. He is a freak. Played center, played guard. He even has the size to kick out and play tackle if necessary. With just the sheer depth that the Eagles have, I think it would make total sense. Don't forget that they have Cam Jurgens waiting in the depth chart as well. That he'll probably take over for either Isaac Seumalo or Jason Kelce, but I really think that they just continue to add these young offensive linemen and just keep making a strength stronger. And if Avila is here at 62, I mean, you have to take him, especially with the way that Howie Roseman drafts and the way that he thinks. I think it would be another massive, massive get for the Philadelphia Eagles. Then at pick number 94, I'm going to stay on the offensive side of the football here, and I'm going to get possibly the poor man's quote-unquote version of Jahmyr Gibbs. And for me, that's Tyjae Spears. So with Miles Sanders and Boston Scott both being free agents, Miles Sanders coming off of a career year, I think we kind of saw a changing of the guard in the postseason. Don't forget that Kenneth Gainwell only had 59 carries in the regular season, and he had 33 carries in the playoffs. So in 3 games, he had 33 carries. So I think there's kind of like a phasing out of Miles Sanders, especially in the Super Bowl. Miles Sanders was essentially a non-factor. There's a phasing out of Miles Sanders. I think he's as good as gone. I don't really think Boston Scott comes back. I think Kenneth Gainwell kind of takes the reins as the in-between the tackles type of runner. And then you get someone like Tyjae Spears, who is just incredible. He's an incredible route runner in terms of being a receiving back. He's got great speed to run outside the tackles. I think it would be a tremendous 1-2 punch. If they want to keep this running attack going, I think if you got someone like Gainwell, who's a little bit more muscular, 205 pounds, 5'9", then you get someone like Spears, 5'10", 195 pounds, but a little bit on the leaner side, very, very agile, extremely fast. I think it would be an incredible addition to the type of offense that the Philadelphia Eagles are running right now. Then at pick number 221 here, I'm going to address the secondary yet again. I'm going with the safety position here. I think Reed Blankenship came in and played some really, really meaningful snaps, and he was a really, really nice, young, bright spot in the playoffs for the Eagles secondary there. Marcus Epps coming back, C.J. Gardner-Johnson being a free agent. I also think that a lot of these guys come back. I think that Howie Roseman gets a lot of these guys to come back and continue playing for the Eagles. They got a great thing going here. But I'm going to address it again. I really like Daniel Scott out of California. He's got some great size. He's really, really productive as well as 6'3", 215-pound safety to add to Reed Blankenship's size as well. I believe Blankenship is like 6'4", 220 pounds. Someone fact check me on that. But Scott, coming off of 3 straight seasons of 3 interceptions, I think that he'll be a great addition to the back end, a core special teamer as well. I think it'd be a really nice depth option for the Philadelphia Eagles. Then with the Eagles' last pick at number 250, I'm going with some defensive line help here. And I really like DJ Dale out of Alabama. He had a pretty decent Senior Bowl as well. He's one of those big, nasty defensive tackles that takes up a lot of space, eats up a lot of blocks, and is pretty good in the run game. So I think you could add someone like DJ Dale at pick 250, which is essentially at the end of the draft. I think it would be a fantastic addition for this Philadelphia Eagles defense. And like I said, if there are line studs there, you know that Howie Roseman is going to go out and get them. So I'm going with DJ Dale here with the Philadelphia Eagles' last pick. Ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. There is my full 7th-round Philadelphia Eagles 2023 mock draft. Let me know what you guys think in the comments section below. Please leave a like. Please leave a comment. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We are rolling right along with these 7th-round mocks. Not only that, we're doing player profiles, and I'm going to start doing team grades for the 2023 NFL season that just passed. So please subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed, and I hope I see you in the next one.